it a little bit before I decided to stream, and since I plan on playing it a little bit longer, I thought it would be a good time to go ahead and check it out. So I have created my own custom character, and I have already beat the quote-unquote tutorial, which is the very first story that you do. Chapter 1, I guess, is the way it's framed in the game. So I'm going to start streaming from the beginning of chapter 2, so that if you do decide that this is a game you're interested in, I haven't recorded any spoilers. Yep, chapter 2, this is my character. Now, character creation, in terms of the way your character looks at the start, not that great. Basically, you can either play a light-skinned character or dark-skinned character, and they can be a male or a female, and your only custom quote-unquote options are the pre-generated faces that you can choose, and facial hair. I don't know if females have anything else besides that, but there's only a small beard, which technically it looks like he's shaved, but he really has like a 5 o'clock shadow, and a full beard. And that's about it. Like, you play, it's literally the same guy, just he's either light or dark. Like, there's no difference as far as like customization. Then when you pick your stats and stuff, that's when stuff gets a little weird. Which at first I had no idea what was going on. I just picked something that I thought was okay. I don't know. I was able to complete the first mission successfully without, you know, dying, because this game has instant fail states. But it is your quote-unquote visual novel that you sit here, read, make choices, like a typical RPG, but it's presented in a way different state. Basically, there's no like motion controls, everything's static. So let's just continue. Yeah, I don't. So last time I left off, this was where I was at. The way the game works is that there's this bar called control here, and if you ever get your bar all the way to 100, you gain one of these. Your MP is essentially how to like succeed on rows or whatever. And so this is like your emotions, and different actions in the game affect your emotions differently. And these numbers right here affect your dice rolls. So the game doesn't work on D6s or, you know, a D20 or anything like that. It works on percentages. So I'm guessing you always roll 2 dice, like your typical. If you ever play D&D, it's a D100, it's a D10, and then a percentage. You roll 2d10. One of them is your 10, 20, 30, 40, 50s, and then one of them is between 1 and 9, or 0 technically. And then you can use your MP to negate this bar. It's more of a I have to show you type of thing. And then there's all this weird stuff in here, like I really don't understand. Off the top, never, you know, encountered any of these. Of course I've encountered these right here, but then it, like, I don't know these mechanics. But the game is pretty interesting. So the way it works is you get points, and I guess that represents your money. You use that to upgrade your gear, which I don't think the player character ever changes. Then these are your quote-unquote deals, so these affect negative stats. So the more you fix these, the more you can get, the more you negate a negative. So for example, my character developed a "we are all alone" idea. The closest thing this I've ever seen something like this is like Disco Elysium, where you pick like what your character believes in or whatever, and then if you do a quest, he gets a certain thing from it. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But essentially, if I put points in here, I'll end up getting the stats on the right to 0 instead of -4, right? And the more I go through, the more my mindset changes. Then renown is affected by the choices you make, like uh, helping people out or doing something heroic, or just like it's. I don't want to just put it at those, but it's so far that's about the only two options I have seen. I have traits and stuff that increase my renown, so there's that. And then you meet people in the game, then you have to worry about your relationships or whatever. I don't know, but let's just continue. I don't like that. I thought I would go to sleep and I would regenerate my MP, but whatever. Okay, yes, good. Oof, I was about to say. So, quick tip, you can hit spacebar so you don't have to click this arrow. So, my fear went all the way up to 100 instantly. That's going to affect my choices in the game. And there's some options where the higher your fear, the better chances you have. So, for example, if I had to flee and my fear was at 10, then it would add 10% increase. At least I think that's how it works to my row. So it helps me flee. But if I wanted to stand my ground, then I'd have a -10% because of fear. And the problem is that it would affect all my other rows. And sometimes it's even higher than that. As well as anger has the same thing. So if I were ever to get to 100 anger, or 10 anger, because it's just a scale 0 to 10. If I ever got to 10 anger, then if I wanted to fight somebody, I have a better chance. If I wanted to let go of that anger, I'd have a harder chance. But then you spend MP and you can change it, and then if I were to click here, I could spend a point, I could calm myself. But I'm just gonna live with dread on me. So as I'm in fear, because I leave that at max, I'm starting to lose control. And if my control ever reaches 0, I automatically lose a point. And control affects my ability to succeed in the game. So the more dice rolls I succeed and options I succeed in the game, the more I'm in control, and that helps control my emotions. So since I'm gonna keep losing 4%, even though all I did was just read dialogue, I'm gonna burn 1 MP to calm down. And there, now that I clicked on this one, since I burnt an MP, I didn't lose control. So these are the percentages here, and if I wouldn't have used that, it would have affected stuff from here. But technically I could just use an MP, automatically succeed, or just attempt to roll for it. So I would wake up my brother, which would probably lead to, friendship or whatever. But since I'm making the video, I'm gonna do a guaranteed row. So as you see here, I rolled 56 out of 100%. So what you want to do is row below the percentage, and if the percentage is ever really low, you have a higher chance of failing. So if this was 10% and I rolled 11% or an 11 on my row, I would fail it. Okay, so now they're talking about wrist chains. This is gonna be part of the game. So I'm just gonna let shit roll and watch the story unfold.
quite convincing. That noise would scare both man and beast. Thank you. I hear it's quite the sight. You should have seen your face. What's up with that sword? Why would you ask? I think, as with all dreams, what matters the most is what you make of it. There's no right answer here. Your thoughts shape what is real for you and what isn't. talk about your childhood. There was one thing I was too young to understand, but I think about it often now. Father was afraid of the gods, but she wasn't. She said there is enough darkness to fear them, and enough beauty to not to. That's true, but we get to choose what we make of them. She was bold enough to embrace what made her free. Our people. The gods she didn't fear. Kindness instead of hate. For me, that's her legacy. Like father, but it wasn't him. just... he wasn't always like that. I liked being at his side. He was a good teacher. He taught me how to hunt. I'm sorry I failed to protect you the way you needed. There's one last thing I wanted to speak to you about. Before Romans invaded our lands, we were builders of monuments, artists, people of design. In order to survive, we hide, we run, we burn and wage war. We have let Rome reduce us to little more than animals. That's what brought me out here tonight. I feel this is what Mother would have wanted for us. Build a nation, a culture, a generation that doesn't know war. That's something worth.
The legions are coming.
Take her inside, please. I'll send the healer, and prepare the village to run for the hills.
Of course. You were always the kind one. Like your mother.
And that's apparently chapter 2, which was a little emotional. Uh, had to deal with my brother being creeped out by a dream and meeting this mysterious woman, which you figure more about who she is in the first chapter. So, if this game is interesting to you, I wouldn't, you know, you should check it out. Uh, It's basically just a visual novel. I guess visual novel 2.0. Honestly, I really like that they incorporated the 3D designs of the characters. Uh, there's other things that affect it in terms of the way you choose. I kind of feel like they borrowed some aspects, and I'm gonna say it again, of like Disco Elysium, but they distilled it down to the most basic of what should I say, mechanics, I guess is the word. So yeah, like I'm gonna go ahead and end this one, and then I guess I'll start on chapter 3. So yeah,